again, please. Houston, we've had a problem. We've had a main B plus undervolt. Roger, main B undervolt. Okay, stand by at 13, we're looking.
We are leaving Mars and going for a little trip to Mercury instead, where Coach Billy Carson has sent us an interesting picture, and that does, to me, when I look at it, look like there are some very interesting angles and shape in this picture from Mercury. Billy, will you tell us a little bit about why is this between one of your favorite images?
Absolutely. I decided to go to Mercury because, you know, I spent a lot of time on Mars, and I actually found this particular anomaly on Mercury about a year ago. At that time, my enhancement skills weren't that good, and I didn't really have a good grasp on how to bring images out without using a lot of tools. And so I wanted to go revisit this image recently because I was really looking to go into some of the other planets and moons in our solar system. And I remember that I found this anomaly, so I went back to it, and using some new techniques without using too many tools, I was able to get this image out. Mercury is an amazing place. We've been taught that it's extremely hot. It rains molten metal and all these crazy things in the past by NASA. Now, all of a sudden, since the NASA Messenger mission, we found that Mercury actually might be habitable. They have found organics on the planet's surface. Matter of fact, a few recent videos of NASA representatives speaking have talked about the fact that they have found organic material, that they can't figure out why the organic material is there. They can't believe it because they thought it would be too hot for organics. Well, in reality, the fact is they know exactly why you can find organics on Mercury. Before I go into anomaly, I'll just tell you a little bit about Mercury. Mercury is about half the diameter of Earth. It's about 1,500 or so miles in diameter, so it's about half the size of Earth. The planet spins on its axis once every 58 Earth days. Yeah. So one day on Mercury is 58 days on Earth. Okay, so that's really an amazing indication of how much of the planet is never in the direct sunlight. So you can see where you can have on Earth, in Arizona, you can have 130 degrees. I was just in the Mojave Desert this month. A couple of weeks ago, I went to the Mojave Desert. It got to 110 during the day. And the hottest it can get is somewhere to the neighborhood of 130. It's been recorded before. So imagine 130 in the daytime, and then the same night, it can be as low as 30 degrees. That's a 100-degree swing in one day on Earth. And things live perfectly fine in the Mojave Desert. People live there. The Indians, the land that we went to where the Indians live, they're fine. So on this planet, you have a situation where you have extreme cold, or potentially extreme cold and extreme heat, or maybe even a combination of heat from one side of the planet flowing around the backside of the planet and giving us some type of a warming temperature. So maybe it's an even temp, maybe even globally. They may have some type of a HARP system that helps them balance the temperatures. Whatever it is, they have something, because I can tell you one thing: people were there or are there. Because there's structures almost everywhere. This one image that I took down from the Georgia State University site, where they got some NASA Messenger photos to put up, it was so clean and so high def. I pulled it in, I went in, I started looking into the areas where NASA claimed that they were blue craters. I mean, I'd never seen a blue crater before, so I said, let me go to these craters. And when you remove a little bit of the blue, all of a sudden you start to see these anomalies pop out. Structures everywhere. I'm talking massive, massive structures. This one structure that we're looking at here is approximately 10 meters. It's a very, very big structure. I thought it was smaller than that, but now Nev pulled down the the measurement tool for me, and then I maybe I did it wrong or right, I'm not sure. Maybe Nev can back it up, or he can re-verify it for me. But when I used the tool that he found for the NASA Messenger sizing, it appears to be about 10 meters, this one structure.
The structure, sorry to interrupt you, the structure you talk about, is that what looks like a wall, or is that the blue crater you're talking about here as a structure?
Well, the structure itself is anything you see in like the more of a darker bluish color, it appears to be all connected into one. It's got these weird angles around the edges, these kind of jagged edges as it goes around.
Exactly. Yes.
And it's backed up to the edge of a crater.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you pull down the most recent video that I put on in our groups, I even put it on the UFAH main page. It was a news video talking about how there's liquid water on Mercury in these craters.
Yeah.
And so every time you go and zoom into a crater, you'll find these structures built around these craters with the liquid water in the middle. And this is NASA representatives, NASA words, NASA quotes stating that there's liquid water in these craters. So it's nothing that we're making up. And this appears to be right behind the structure, appears to be liquid water. So this structure is backed up to this crater, and it appears to be right over the liquid water. And you can kind of see piping maybe leading into the crater in the back. And then you also see this one very long, I don't know if it's a pipe or a tube coming out towards the bottom left corner. Maybe that even goes up into the air. Maybe that's some type of an exhaust pipe.
Yeah.
It could be, yeah, it could be a mile high. I mean, that particular piece in the lower left corner of the structure could be, it could be off the ground. And then you have on to the right bottom corner of this thing that looks like some type of a very strange tower or a an accent. I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm just guessing. It could be a water tower. It could be a processing plant. It's got a kind of a hook on the top of it. But again, that structure could be a couple of miles high itself, off the surface of the structure, off the surface of the ground. The ground around this anomaly is extremely smooth, or at least it appears to be. Now, I've never seen this much area that smooth. Usually you see a lot of things, debris, rocks, different things like that. Now, obviously, we can't get any closer than this to get more detail, but it appears to be very, very smooth around the edges, and the structure is definitely, in my opinion, there. I took down another section of this image, which you yourself, Thomas, have edited a little bit to see if there were structures there. Nev took it as well. There's almost structures every square mile on this strip of satellite imagery. It's absolutely amazing. It's almost like it's completely built out. And this is actually one of the structures that I found that didn't have anything butted up right next to it. It actually had a little bit of space, around it. So maybe this is a processing plant. It could be a waste plant. It could be a water plant to collect water and distribute water to the other structures that we've seen on the surface of Mercury. When I look at the actual infrared images of Mercury and the new NASA messenger images, which one I posted up here for you, you'll see that there are a lot of lights going around the entire planet. When I took that image and I pulled it into Photoshop in the highest version that I could find and zoom into those lighted areas, they all appear to be circular type cities with structures in them. So I'm starting to wonder if these are just lighted craters with ice that's lighting up the area, or are these areas ancient cities that used to be there? We don't know. It's all guesswork at this point. But with the amount of oxygen that's there, it's 42% oxygen. I'll tell you what the organics are on this planet. 42% oxygen, 29% sodium, 22% hydrogen, 6% helium, 0.5% potassium, with traces of argon, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, xenon, krypton, and billions of tons of water. So this planet might even be a planet where a human being like us can land there and pop your helmet off and maybe take a breath. I don't know if you would survive or not, but definitely a lot of oxygen there. That's all I can tell you.
When I'm sitting and looking at the picture you uploaded here, I'm looking in down right corner, and I am very well aware of that this could be a huge object as after is seen from an orbiter messenger. But what I was going to say is what I see here on my little screen here is something that looks like a classic building with roof, the classic angle here, but my logical sense tells me that it's not possible, because this would be a mile high construction. It could probably be a trick of light, or as we spoken of before in number 9 episode here about understanding conditions on other planets and the way people can extraterrestrial can build in a way that we are not a capability to understand how it works or how they can do it. But I see what looks like a classic shaped roof house and a square entrance, and yes, it could be mile high, but what do I know about Mercury? I don't know much, and actually not many people know much about it. So this is a fascinating picture, and I love these structures following what looks like the house. It looks like some kind of fence to keep water in or out. Or
That's exactly my thoughts.
Like
yeah,
yes.
Looking at that, it looks to me like a sea wall construction, with perhaps the sea on the right there, and some very rectilinear and rectangular looking wall-like structures there, and a tower, a white tower. You know, I mean, if there's water up there, maybe there are sea walls, and maybe they're processing the water and using it for stuff and creating electricity or something. It could be a power plant.
It could be
Yeah.
an electrical plant.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like if anyone of you have been on holiday in Holland, Netherlands, driving on the dam, they have there. I don't know if that could be a connection, but it's one of my first thoughts was when I was in Holland and we were driving on these artificial constructed roads. Actually, you felt you were out in the ocean driving.
Yeah, I've been to Holland. Yeah.
Yes.
Keep in mind too, Thomas. You have to keep in mind that because it's 50% smaller than Earth, that means that you have less gravity.
So like Mars,
Yes, if you have the technology to use carbon fiber construction, then you can build things any size you want because it's stronger than steel. And if a human being were to land there like us, with the gravity that we're used to, our physical bodies, we'd be extremely strong on this planet. We could probably pick up a boulder and throw it. We'd be able to jump 100 yards. I mean, we'd be extremely strong on this planet.
Neville Thompson?
I don't know much about Mercury, like, but that certainly looks like structures there. Like down in the left-hand corner there, it looks like a square building. If you're looking straight down on it, you've got your square building there. Then you've got another outer shell to it, and then I don't know what those black holes are like. But the whole thing looks man-made. Even the edges to the is it land? We don't know. It could be like a flat thing over the top of the water. You don't know. It could be like a platform. But the white thing on the right hand side, looks as if it's sticking up. Like I don't know how far that would be. Like you said about a mile, Billy, didn't you?
Yeah,
a mile high?
Yeah, it could be a mile high.
Yeah,
Quite possible.
right.
Quite possible.
Yeah.
There
Well,
are towers on if there are towers on the moon that are 5 miles high, then surely a mile isn't that big, you know.
Yeah, true. Now the one on the other side looks as if it's the same shape than the one on this side, but it's a different colour. But them walls, like it could be like a keeping in the water or keeping out the water. You don't know because
It's like a tidal barrier. Yeah.
Yeah, because the right hand side looks darker than this side, you know.
Yeah.
So it could be the water on that side, not this side, you know. But it's, I mean, I enhance the whole thing and there's structures everywhere. Like you know, I mean, just I was amazed like when I seen the things that are there. Like you've even got carbons up the sides of the mountains and that, you know. But it looks like there's life on Mercury then. It does, huh? It
Why not?
or was, we don't know, you know. Okay, that's all I've got to say.
Okay. Yes, I'm just going to back up what Billy said, that there are areas on Mercury that would be very comfortable for man to actually go there. I think it's NASA have discovered that it's the polar regions and the neighbouring areas which never feel the effects of the sun at all, and there's an ice layer as well. Which compared to the size of Washington, it would probably be a couple of miles thick. So there is plenty of water. It's water ice. So there must be lots of it melting, you know, where you have it actually meeting where the sun would have its effects. So it's probably more than enough water for the planet. I was surprised actually that it's the planet in itself is only slightly larger than our own moon. And yet it has its own little magnetic field as well, and it's supposed to actually be a kind of miniature version of our own magnetic field. So I mean that says a lot about the planet. It's got no moons of its own. I remember reading that, and but curiously, considering that you've got these exceedingly high temperatures of the areas that do face the sun, I think it's been confirmed that in the sort of shadowed areas, the temperature can be actually as comfortable as a room temperature, 20 degrees Celsius or 68 Fahrenheit. So no doubt that would be taken into consideration for any possible future manned landings, but that would be a long time ahead. I think, did it take about 6 years for Messenger to get there?
Something like that.
6 or 7 years, yeah, I think so. But the little, I mean, on my iPad, I can see those ruins quite clearly, and there's no way that any of this can be JPEG artifacts because you wouldn't have the curved shape there as well. The sunlight is hitting the whole area from what would be our eastern side. So we're getting this sort of the shadow being cast from what could be a retaining wall. I would imagine those walls are very, very high. If that strange anomaly to the bottom right, if that's very high in itself, I don't think the walls are far less in height than that might be. It definitely looks like a structure of some kind. If that is water to the right, then as you say, that could be keeping the water out. I wish I'd sort of found the location of it on the actual globe of Mercury. Where is it in position? Where's the location of this area, this anomaly, Billy? Is it?
This area, if I remember correctly, is closer to the northern pole.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's slightly above the. It's about 2/3 above the equator.
Okay, right. So it's probably in a very comfortable area, temperature-wise.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, very, very good. Great find. Well done.
Yes,
Thank you.
Awesome.
Joey, do you have any more you want to add to this image?
Well, I'd just like to reiterate what everyone said, really. It does look like an intelligent structure, or a number of intelligent structures there, with a tower on the lower right there. And looks like some kind of seawall or construction. And when you look at the actual images of the planet as a whole, and you zoom in, there are lights all over the place. And large green areas and large blue areas. It looks like a habitable planet, and possibly inhabited. And there are, much like you see on the moon, a lot of these so-called craters seem to have domes over them, and roads coming out of them as well, which seem to link these so-called craters together. So it looks like it could be inhabited.
Yeah.
This is a very interesting picture you came up with here, Billy.
Yeah, awesome.
It was about time we got off Mars for a little while and had a look at something else than just Mars.
As long as we get back.
Exactly. Billy, thank you for sharing that image with us. It was a great one. And that would be the end of episode 12, and I want you to follow us in episode 13, where we are gonna look at my picture. It's what I describe as a corner wall on a PIA 16700 image. But for now, we say goodbye and see you in episode 12. Bye.